I've got quite a long journey today, going all the way down to a place called Guruk, which is on the west coast, for a friend is getting inducted into a church down there, and I'm speaking at that a little bit later. So I plugged the car in last night, let it charge to 100%. I've got a meeting first of all here in Aberdeen, and then we'll head down the road. But as I had it plugged in overnight, next to the wee Leaf, it is very noisy here, lots going on. I did have it set to pre-warm, so that should be quite nice if all is done as it should. Put my various things. So you put the jacket in the back. Such a peaceful place is Aberdeen. Charged, that is a good sign. I will unplug, get the card, and shove this away, and I'll be ready to go. I'm in the car, and I'll just turn on. So you see I've got a full charge there, and however, I've been zipping around town very speedily over the last kind of charge or two, so my range is kind of down. But because I've got a long journey ahead, and I'll kind of record what I'm doing with this journey, I'll reset the trip information. You see that 3 miles per kilowatt hour, that is not good. Anyway, just using the stalk, you just press on the end here, and they will flash and then reset, and that resets also your driving eco, which is now kind of down to 0 because there's nothing there. So that's that. I put eco mode on, and range is 79 miles. It's kind of bounced up a little bit. So I will head over to my meeting first. My intention today is actually to drive not kind of in eco mode. If I'm not going for ultimate range for this journey. I'm trying a compromise in speed. The rapid chargers that a lot of them have been taken offline a few weeks ago. Most of those seem to be back online now, so I should be able to bounce down between rapid chargers pretty quickly. So yeah, an experiment. Guruk it must be about 150 miles away, 140 miles away, something like that, and right the way on the west coast. We're on the east coast here in Aberdeen, and Guruk itself, that area around there don't seem to be any chargers. So I think IKEA at Glasgow may be my kind of rapid charge, and then I'll need to charge up there again. I want to head back towards the east. Okay, off to my meeting now. That's my meeting finished. Well, no, it's not. It's lunch break for it, but I need to head away early to get down the road. So I'm just about to leave Aberdeen, and head down to Forfar, to the rapid charger there. So I will maybe do an update along the way. Okay, well that's me leaving Aberdeen. It's 12:50. Just got onto the motorway, or the A90, and so I am planning to drive. It's about 50 miles down to Forfar, and I am planning not to drive too slowly, kind of drive at regular motorway speeds. miserable. I'm going to have to keep the air conditioning on to keep everything clear. Lights are on. So yeah, pretty much kind of worst case scenario here. But as I say, I'm not going for a range on this journey. I want to see, I kind of know how to do this on as few stops as possible and being careful on the way down, which I probably would be able to get over to Guruk with just 2 stops, 2 charges along the way if I do that. But I want to try something a bit different, drive faster, maybe take 3 charges on the way. I'll kind of see how I'm doing, how that works, or 4 quicker ones. So that is the plan. Anyway, not very pleasant on the way down. I'm going to try and keep, you see the kind of scale on the, which shows you throttle position, how much power is going into the motor. I'm going to try and keep it in the green, rather than tipping into the yellow at the top end, which if I put my foot right down, it'll go into. And I'm gonna, oh, here we go. I'm gonna try not to break the law either, and head down at kind of 70 on the way down. That is the intent. We'll see how we do on the range. "35 minutes, 18 kilowatts. I've had a lunch break and we are at 95%. Oh, that's fine. I will unplug and go. So, card. Stop. Thump. And just press the button here. So I drove. I was actually on the phone most of the way down with a friend, so no chance of any other updates. But I pretty much just drove with the cruise control set at 70 all the way down, and I think I was about 20% on the battery when I got down here to Forfar, which is about 50 odd miles away, something like that. So you can see what that's done to my range driving at that speed. 65 miles is all it says on there. However, next bit I'm going to do is cross country, and look at my driving eco score. Oh dear, dear, dear. Look, I've only got a tiny little leaf. Not good. So I press that. What have I got? I don't think I've ever seen it as bad as that. 54 out of 100. Ah, you see, all going wrong right here. Anyway, no energy saved at all. Goodness me. So I'm going to carry on my journey and cross country down to Perth. Probably do another quick charge there, then down to Stirling. Maybe another quick, maybe I'm just talking about maybe 10 minutes or so at each of these, and then down to Glasgow. This was a longer stop. I've had my lunch. So I could leave it to charge, you know, kind of right up there. So 95%, I'm onward bound. Still miserable out there, but it's not raining, really. But still lights, still got heating on and all the rest. And it isn't very warm, it has to be said. What are we, 7 degrees? 7 degrees. It's okay. but not hugely warm. All right, onward. I should have said, when I said earlier I was chatting with a friend on the phone, I have a bit of a bone to pick with this friend, because he and his wife have just bought or taken delivery of a new Renault Zoe. But the grief I got when I went to an EV, you see how things are changing. Anyway, good to hear somebody else, and lots of folks that are jumping on the bandwagon, and the more folks that do, this is good. It encourages the network to get stronger. It also, of course, for the manufacturers of the EV cars, with the growth of volume, then the cost of manufacture comes down, and the cost of parts will come down, and all of that. So that's all positive and all good. Yes, on on Facebook, there's a kind of trail of discussion about EVs, and somebody bringing up oh man, I've got to stop this. I'm going a slightly different way on the sat nav to what my dear here is expecting me to do, so I may need to just shut her up. She has finally recalculated, so she knows the way I am going. That's all good. Anyway, there was a train of thought on Facebook about this, and of course where the energy comes from, and somebody getting quite agitated about the fact that EVs are not more environmentally sensitive than a petrol or diesel car, and in fact are far more costly, and all the rest, which to me smacks of somebody that's never driven an EV car, because to drive, of course, they're really very pleasant to drive, so, and in many ways much more pleasant than a petrol or diesel car, and that has some cost attached to it for getting a nicer drive. However, I kind of jumped in and responded a little on the other wider issues, but I do get this kind of sense, it's a bit like in any kind of discussion where you have folks that have a very strong opinion on one side. You're not going to shift their opinion, and that's kind of a bit of the feeling I got from that discussion. In the UK at the moment, it depends when you charge your car. If you're charging your car just kind of any time, then yes, the general mix of where energy is coming from is not brilliant. You know, it's probably an EV, and this is the whole energy costs. So also including cost of manufacture of the car and all that sort of stuff, transport of fuel, that kind of thing. An electric car probably works out around about the same cost as a good hybrid car or a good diesel car, that kind of thing, that sort of range. Now, what that doesn't take into account is that as the mix of the mix that goes into energy production changes and shifts, which it is moving to more renewables, then an EV automatically takes advantage of that and thus becomes cleaner, whereas petrol and diesel, that isn't the case at all. It's always polluting at a local level. It also doesn't take into account that local pollution is quite an issue, especially in urban areas and city areas, and electric cars remove the pollution pollution source to other areas outside of those urban areas, where it could be argued that it can be dealt with more efficiently. So whether that's through filtering, carbon capture, whatever it is, the different processes you can apply at a power station level. Now, as things, if you look around different countries to places where there's a much higher level of renewables in the mix, then EV cars, when you kind of compare environmental impact, it goes off the scale because they are taking full advantage of that in a way that petrol diesel cars cannot. So in places like Norway or Sweden or France, increasingly in Germany are really pushing hard for renewables. Then you're seeing that shift so that an EV becomes ever more efficient and less footprint. So I guess the message there is that we need to be pushing more the UK government and how our energy is produced, and yes, there is stuff going on about renewables, but you know, in the last year or so there's been some pushback from the Conservative government, and that there's not going to be new wind farms allowed onshore and all that kind of stuff. So that's not really helping in moving this mix to a greater renewable complement in it. So that would make a big difference. I'm reading a book at the moment by Naomi Klein, which is called I think it's called "This Changes Everything" or something like that, and it's about the environment, and it's a great book. I'm only a few chapters in, but she's talking there about what's going on in Germany, and in a lot of places in Germany, a lot of communities are buying back their energy production. So they are reversing the privatization of the 1990s, because that privatization, while it is providing profit for shareholders and all of that, it isn't doing what the people want, which is providing a greener energy source. And other place, Boulder, Colorado, I think, is in the middle of discussions about this at the moment as well. So people power is making a difference in forcing, well, actually, either in buying out private companies and bringing back a municipal energy producer, that then you can guarantee that there'll be a higher green content. That's very interesting, and I'm not sure how that would work here when we've got National Grid and all of that kind of thing, though companies like Ecotricity, which we get our household gas and electricity from, are all their profit goes into building new renewable sources of energy, which is why I went for them as a kind of market-led, person-led, but using the market, saying, yes, this is what I want. I don't mind paying a little bit more for it, but I want to see more of our energy produced renewably, because the greater that that energy production is, then for EV drivers, they can take best advantage of that to have less impact on the environment. Naomi Klein's book, I highly recommend it. It's troubling reading, but good. You know, positive in the sense of alerting us to the fact that we are now way behind the curve in trying to keep climate change under control, and so we need some more radical solutions, maybe costly solutions, but these need to be ground up solutions that come from folks wanting to make a difference. All right, enough rambling on these things from me. I'm heading across country now, and heading down to Perth, and and as I travel, I am still doing the speed limit, and but faster than I usually travel if I'm going along along this route. But as I say, I'm trying something a bit different for this journey. New average speed cameras. I see there's a little logo, about a different logo on the sat nav that comes up when it's average speed cameras. I've not seen that before. Yeah, interesting. Still a 70-mile-an-hour limit down here, so no bothers. Well, I've changed my plan. I was planning to do a brief sort of 10-minute stop in Perth, something like that, 10-15 minutes, at Broxton Roundabout, at one of the rapid chargers there. But I've decided, looking at, I kind of quickly put in the distance on the sat nav to the Stirling rapid charger, and I'm a bit slow down now, and you can see on the sat nav it says 32 and a bit miles. I've got 34 miles of range, so I decided, oh, blow it, I'll just carry on down to all the way down to Stirling, which will be close on the range. I might need to slow down a wee bitty, but I'm thinking that the car by now kind of knows what kind of driving I'm doing, so the range actually should be pretty accurate. But something in the middle of the road, and that's going to be nasty if somebody runs over that. Anyway, so that is my next plan, and then charge up there at the Ecotricity rapid charger. Now there is a method in this, even though it might seem a bit more stressful to do it this way. The car charges much more quickly from kind of empty, or when it's near empty, than it does if it's half full. So you kind of get more bangs for your buck. So that's the reason for doing that. So I'll need to stay a little bit longer at Stirling, but maybe proportionately not that much longer, even though I'll get more miles of range then, be a little bit more efficient at my time, one hopes. So that is the plan. Miles to go to the service station, and you'll see in the range gauge I've actually got quite a lot of range back. I drove along at about 65 miles an hour on the cruise control for about 20 miles or so, and gained quite a few miles back on the range, so back up to 70. I'm impressed with the wee TomTom, you know, the R-Link sat nav. Those cameras, the average speed cameras, they weren't in last time I drove down, so they are new. There were kind of signs up saying new speed limit cameras in action, but it was all there on the sat nav. It covered you, reminded you the whole way that you were in the zone of the average speed cameras, and then at the end it gave you a warning that you were coming to the end of that area. So yeah, that worked really well. I'm not sure if they do that over the air updates on that kind of thing, or if periodically on the computer it tells you to upgrade, or it's got an update for the R-Link, and whether that includes that information then in one of those updates. Anyway, whatever, it worked very seamlessly, worked well. So just 3 miles to the Sterling services, and I am hoping the rapid charger is available and working. Even better.
After 2 miles, take the exit M9 towards Edinburgh.
Well, the warning light came on for the battery, and it popped up just a short while ago with the considered eco mode message. So I am not, because I am taking this exit and heading up to the services.
Then take the exit 9 towards Stirling.
I do like the way the sat-nav lays out when you've got a big kind of big junction like this coming up. The way it does that, it's very, very clear which lane you're supposed to be in, and yeah, I appreciate that. Some
After
of the
600 yards, take the exit.
some of the older sat-navs that I've got
Take the exit towards Stirling.
don't do that so well. Anyway, I'm going to go kind of a bit around the houses to get to the services here. It's on quite a complicated little junction. These services, various
After
different roads,
300 yards,
going in and out.
right on the roundabout towards services. Go right on the roundabout.
Around the houses.
Exit, then right turn ahead.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember where they are. I think they're just in here on the left. And
turn right, then
yes,
you have reached your destination.
I had just
It is
I put the petrol station in just because I was
turn around when
a
possible.
lazy soul.
Then
and there is a Leaf charging here at the moment, so I will need to plug in it. And very inconveniently parked cars right here. I don't think I can get in this gap to charge, which is a bit frustrating. So I might need to just wait here a moment until I can try and get into charge. Or maybe try, but it's not looking good anyway. This is after more cross country. You know, there's how many miles? About 30 miles cross country. So you can see my score has gone up. Speed isn't just as bad as when I'd set it completely. And you can just, yeah, you can see when you're doing cross country, you can see how it is. I've got some energy back now. The more hills up and down there. However, still not good, because I've, you know, I still had the cruise set at 65 and 70 coming down the rest of the motorway. Well, I'm next to the charger here. Leaf is still over there, so unfortunately I arrived just at the same kind of time that lady and her Leaf arrived, so she had just plugged in, so it'll be about 20 minutes or so there. So I waited. I've managed to slide in next to and the other car moved that was blocking this other part here. The unfortunate thing with these Ecotricity chargers is that you can only, there are two sockets, so there's the DC and AC, and the Leaf is using the DC, whereas I would be using the AC, which is the one that is available, but you can only charge one at a time. Now, some of the other rapid chargers, you can charge two cars at the same time. It would be at a somewhat reduced rate, but you can do that, which yeah, it just depends. There's pros and cons either way, which is better. However, there we go. So I think I will read a chapter of my Naomi Klein book, and while waiting, and then once the car's plugged in and charging up, I'll go get a coffee. Right, it is what is the time? It is 3:45 now. So, and I left at, what was it, 12:50, something like that. So this charge here should get me, will get me all the way down to Glasgow. That is the plan. And then I charge at IKEA and then to Guruk. Yeah, so we'll see. I was hoping to meet somebody on the way down, but yeah, we'll see how we go. All a bit of an experiment. Well, I'm plugged in now to the Ecotricity charger, and it is charging up. Excuse me. And I don't know what it is about the Ecotricity charger. If it just kicks in at a faster rate, there goes the Leaf. She's had her car for over a year. Has already done 16,000 miles, I think she said. A lot of driving backwards and forwards, so that's great to see. But immediately it kicks in this charger, you can hear, and this is actually somewhat different to the Leaf, is the Renault has actively cooled battery, and I can hear fans blowing away like under the back seat. There's just like a hum going on from back there, which is different to the sound from I can hear the cooling circuit under the bonnet kicking in every kind of 20 seconds or so. It's doing something, which it's doing at the moment. Anyway, I think I was at 10%, 9%, 10%, something like that, and it's connected in, and it's already doing its thing, charging up. So time for a coffee, and then on. It's 4 o'clock now. So that's maybe about 20 minutes that's held me back. It's very rare that I find this. It will become more of an issue as more EVs come on the market. But generally at the moment it's very rare to find that you have a charger blocked. It's much more likely you'll find a charger blocked by a petrol or diesel car, so you can't get into it. Though that thankfully is becoming less common in the chargers that I use. So that's good. Right, wow, yeah, this is charging fast. There's a lot of energy going on here because you can hear all kinds of things whirring away underneath the car, keeping everything cool. Time for coffee. I need to warm up. Well, I'm just coming onto the motorway after the Sterling services, and another Leaf pulled in just as I was kind of coming to the end of my charge. So that was 3 of us using the charger just back to back. So yeah, some folks complain that, oh, these chargers are never used. Well, they are. Certainly not. More and more so. Anyway, I charged up to about 90, 88, 89, 90%, something like that, which should be enough to get all the way down to Glasgow. I put in the sat nav, where I'm going to kind of meet somebody before heading to Guruk in Greenock, and can't get your Greenocks and your Guruks mixed up. They are right next door to each other, which doesn't help. And however, there are no chargers all around that kind of neck of the woods, so stop off at IKEA to charge up, and then that should be enough to get me. I need to get a few things at IKEA anyway, but that should be enough to then get me out to Guruk and back again tomorrow. That is the plan. So again, I am not going to spare the horses and cruise down just kind of at traffic speed, at motorway speed, just at the speed the traffic is chuntering along at. And so it looks like three stops on the way down to get all the way to Guruk fast, rather than going in an eco mode with a relatively slow cruise. That's okay. This is the charging network working as it should, making it very doable. Now you can see here on the sat nav, it is just there. It's saying on the road, traffic is slow, and it was pinpoint accurate. I know this is the stuff that comes over the radio waves. I mean, it is very impressive, that kind of thing. And my last two sat navs have done this. You know, they show you where there's traffic, and they will route you around it if there's a route that's going to be quicker. And that once saved me hours and hours tailback on the M6 when the old Mercedes took me around the country roads, and I was like, why does it take me off the motorway? And then later found out there'd been a big accident and people had been stuck for hours and hours on the motorway. So I've always liked that feature, but I was just so impressed that it was to the nearest sort of 10 meters it had got that right when the slow traffic started, and I could kind of see it coming along the road, and then the lorry in front of me started flashing its hazard lights just to warn that there was slow traffic ahead. Incredible. And on here it shows you where, you know, how long the kind of delay is. So there's two slow bits of traffic on the journey. One of about 6 minutes delay and another 6 minutes there, which is quite handy, so you kind of know how frustrated to get with the slow traffic. Anyway, this is not helping my my hopes to get down in good time, but we'll see how we go. Going through the centre of Glasgow now. It's been pretty heavy traffic coming down, and you can see on the sat nav here a number of different things still showing you it's slow. The good thing about it being so slow is I've not used nearly as much energy coming down, so I've got well over more than half the battery still remaining. However, it's not quite enough to get to where I need to go and back again tomorrow, back to IKEA, so I'm going to need to pop in and at least get 10 minutes or so of charge. I need to get a couple of things in IKEA anyway, though I could do that tomorrow. But so yeah, that's a bit unfortunate actually. If I'd got a more of a charge up in Stirling, I might have actually just about made it without needing to bother with that. But however, I'm going to need to. And yeah, this slow traffic does mean that my plans may change, and that I need to go straight to Guruk rather than stopping off in Greenock to catch up with friends and then go over together. We'll see how we do. Off the M8 and heading to IKEA. So fingers crossed there is no one charging there. There is another rapid charger around here in Braehead, but I'm not wholly sure where it is. I've never used it. There's one in the car park here. Now, one of the chaps, the chap that had the Leaf that just at Sterling I met, he said that he's had quite a few problems with that one, getting it to recognise cards, which I'd heard before that there's some issues with it. And then but he said there was another one near the Braehead Escape, which is a kind of big entertainment-y place, which is not far from here. So if there's somebody at IKEA, I guess I could go and try there. But here's hoping IKEA one is free. So it's not a good time. I can imagine that some folks may be coming home from work. It's 5:30. Might need a quick top up. Yes, that is. In fact, that was the exact situation the guy I was chatting to at Sterling was in. He, I think, normally gets to work and back on one charge, but he had been running late this morning, so he had to drive a lot faster, and thus we'd probably have been fine going home, but just wanted to get 10 minutes at the rapid chargers just to make sure. So fingers crossed no one's there, fingers crossed no one's there. And I've got to remember which one of these to go down. I think it's the next one is the one. And the wonderful, blessed IKEA, which I have not been to in quite a while, is right before us. There is a Christmas tree. Aha, there's a leaf. There is a leaf. There is a leaf. So, let me go around and see what the deal is on the other side. Now, this is rather what I feared might happen. We'll see if it is still charging or not. Okay. Now, the lights are not on, which seems to suggest it is all fully charged. So I think I can just go ahead and actually charge up. And that is great news. So let's give it a try and see. Trying not to trip over the CHAdeMO DC cable that is right in the way. Is that one in? Oh my goodness, this is getting a right old mess. Charge your vehicle. AC. Yay. And it is charging. Back on the road after IKEA, so charged to about 97% there, and yeah, so there's another Leaf on the other side, as you saw, that was already charged. Now, the guy actually came back, and I mean the car was obviously fully charged, but he didn't move it, which, yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, it really, if it's fully charged, you just move it to another place, still connected up and everything. So just as I was about to leave, another Leaf owner, a Leaf driver, pulled up. So you know, if I'd been sitting there a while, there's nowhere for him to go. So yeah, I mean, part of the thing with the rapid chargers is you really, you know, once it's finished charging, you really should come and move the car so that it's free for other people to use. So anyway, it wasn't too much of an issue. The guy only had to wait a minute or so for me to unplug and disconnect and all that. Okay, so full charge, loads of energy to get over to Guruk and back and all that stuff, so no problems. And I am heading to Greenock to pick up folks first. Ooh, yes, could be tight on time. Right, we'll see how we go. The view, not bad. The Clyde. It is beautiful.
It's a nice area.
Yeah.
It really is a nice area. It's not bad to wake up to this every morning.
I'm leaving Guruk after a very good night, and it is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. Had a very good full breakfast in the cafe just across the way here, and yes, where I'm staying in a friend's house as the new minister, called Guruk and Ashton Church. The view is just spectacular, overlooking the Clyde, so really pretty, lovely. Anyway, I'm gonna head into Glasgow, pick up a few things before then going to see family. So I didn't have a kind of rest update on the rest of the way down, but it took me, after my charge at IKEA, then it was slower getting to Greenock to pick up a couple of folks to head here to Guruk. So it was about 6:30 by the time I got there, so lots of traffic, of course. So I'm thinking it probably took me an extra hour and a bit, maybe, to make it all the way down right to the other side of the country, but also doing that at rush hour. So from Stirling down, it was heavy traffic. So that was kind of, it wouldn't matter what car you were in. I was only going the speed I could go, but pretty much the whole way down I drove at the speed of the traffic, kind of in the overtaking lane, in the fast lane. So between 60-70 miles an hour, depending on how heavy the traffic was. Some parts we were down to almost a standstill, so it was very heavy. Yeah, and then my combined charging time was probably about an hour and a half, I would have thought, including a bit of time waiting. So yeah, doable. No real problems. In fact, yeah, there were no problems at all, even with lots of other EVs. And that was by far, you know, I've done this kind of journey coming down to the Central Belt a number of times, and occasionally have met one other EV, but this time, apart from the Forfer, the other two chargers, there were multiple other cars that I met there. So that's interesting. I'm popping into a shop in Glasgow, and I believe there are chargers that have been installed just on the street opposite where I was planning to go anyway. So I might try and use those. I'm about, well, over half, maybe about 60% on the charge. So I may. I really want a kind of full charge in the car, so I'm pondering I may just pop into IKEA because it's on the way and get a full, well, not a full charge, but maybe charge up to 90%, and then go into Glasgow, and then if there are spaces at the roadside ones, I'll plug in there and let it charge up the rest of the way. Yeah, I think that'll be my plan. So I was quite impressed with the, you just have got to allow a bit more time, but even driving at just at proper motorway speeds, it was wet, it was cold, so the heating's been on the whole time. The actual, that part of it was fine. The rapid chargers are spaced in such a way for that journey that it's no problem even driving, getting a horrendous score because of my excessive speed for eco, not excessive as far as the rules of the road go, but as far as economic driving goes. But yeah, the chargers are placed so that you have plenty of capacity to do that in between. No problems, which is good. Right, into Glasgow. I thought I've never used this particular charger. I'm at Braehead, which is a big shopping centre, and there's a number of chargers here. There's a Ampera charging up at one of the 7 kilowatt chargers, and there's a rapid charger that has been converted to triple head. It's not nice design the way they've done this. So they still only have the 2 sockets at the front, and then the CCS is just hanging off the edge. You can kind of see it there. Not most elegant thing. So rather than going to IKEA, I thought I would try this one, because a few folks I know said they've tried it, and sometimes it doesn't work very well. Anyway, it's connected fine, absolutely fine. It's one of the APT eVolt chargers. However, it's so depressing, because I was at about 32%, an hour and 25 minutes. It's not charging at rapid charger rates. So yeah, it must be this. It must be just charging at the. I mean, this is the same issue. I had so many of these chargers where they aren't. It's obviously still charging at a slower 27 amps rather than 63 amps it should be operating at. So an hour and 25 minutes. I was wanting to get a decent enough charge here. Nuts. So I am going to unplug and I'm going to go over to IKEA, having tried it. It was a bit of a shame. I was wanting to go and do a bit of, just have a bit of browsing. Not going to happen. That's way too long. Can't stand the shops that much, especially on Black Friday, which I've just been hearing about on the radio on the way in, has come over. I don't understand this at all, because Black Friday is the equivalent to a kind of Boxing Day holiday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's an American tradition. What is going on here? Complete fabrication by the stores to stoke up sales. Nuts. completely nuts. Anyway, so I don't quite fancy going into all the huge stores when that's all going on. However, so I'm at 37%, an hour, 25 minutes. If you can, I don't know if you can, is it going to focus? Yeah, kind of. So 1.18 kilowatt hours in 4 minutes. I will work out what rate that is in a minute or two. In fact, I'll let it go up to 5 minutes and then I will unplug and then I will move over to the Ecotricity charger at IKEA. The good thing about this, there's no one here, so I can plug in, no problems. The odd thing about this design, the way they've located it though, because this is a charger, let me zoom back out, this is a charger that you can use, two cars at the same time could charge at this, but its location makes that very awkward, because there's really only one car could charge at a time. I guess you could park on the other side of it, but that's not an EV spot, so it's always going to have petrol diesel cars there. But the cables, I don't think would reach over to here. I mean, that's redesigned for that one there. So not a good layout for this. Yeah, not good at all. Bit of a failure there. Anyway, where are we at? We are 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and it is nearly 1.6. 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes for 1.6 kilowatt hours. Okay, IKEA, here I come. Okay, well, immediately you can see now that I've plugged in at the IKEA Ecotricity charger that the time expected to charge is half an hour shorter, just like that. Which is the kind of usual. In fact, you can see it coming down already. So I'd expect that percentage will be going up every 20 seconds. It should go up 1 notch. So kind of watch that on the timer on the camera here. The other one, it was every 35, 40-ish seconds. It was going up. So that, yep, there it goes. So much quicker. Yeah. It just yeah. Well, I've been over and over this. It's just frustrating with a lot of these. The APT chargers don't work as fast as they should. So, given a choice, I would not use them. Come to one that works as it should. Or maybe send a note over, just ask why that one isn't working. You know, I try and engage as much as possible, but it is frustrating. Anyway, fans are kicking in. I'm just going to wait here. Now, this is something that I keep doing. Right, so I pull in, and then I forget to center the steering wheel. And the reason why that's a bit frustrating is that if I'm sitting in the car and I don't want to go into IKEA because I've already been in yesterday, I want to prop my Kindle up, and it sits perfectly on the top of here, and I always forget to straighten the steering wheel so I can do that. And once it's charging, you can't that's it, you can't move it then. So you're kind of stuck. Oh, silly me. Never mind. There you go. It is up to 46% and charging. just I did a wee top-up charge in Glasgow. So yes, there was a space available at the chargers here on Bothwell Road, right in the middle of the city. There are 4 spaces here. So there's a Zoe behind me. There is an Outlander behind that. There was an IMEV parked there when I first pulled up, but it's away now. But yeah, that worked fine. So that's really good to have these just parked, you know, the chargers just on the side of the street for use. I like that idea a lot. Anyway, off to Cambuslang now. My journey continues. I am at a closed IKEA charging up. So I've had a quiet day today, more or less. I've done some pootering around, and so yesterday going to in the other side of Glasgow. Today I went to Costco and did a little bit of running around again, driving with the traffic, or you know, with the faster traffic on the motorway. So not in any way thinking about driving economically. Eco mode off, heating on, and all the rest. And then back to Cambuslang, back into Glasgow today. A bit of running around, including an unscheduled trip to hospital and all kinds of fun games like that. And so I'm just about to head back now to Cambuslang. Now tomorrow I need to be ready to leave and kind of start heading straight back. It's going to be, I've got things on, family things on in the morning, but I need to be ready to go pretty much straight after they're done to head back up the road. So because I've got something else on the evening back in Aberdeen, so it's going to be, I think, a little bit of a challenge getting back in time. Anyway, yeah, so I'm getting I'm going to top up the car a bit, so this, because I was near the rapid charger at IKEA anyway, because I was down to about 35% or so. So as you can see, it is charging up. I'm not sure how long I've been here, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so, and it's charging up. No, it can't be that long. It wouldn't be that long, maybe 5 minutes. Anyway, so that is that, which is all happening there. And so this is the book I was talking about earlier on my Kindle. Naomi Klein, This Changes Everything, which I highly recommend. So I'm currently reading a chapter that is all about if there are all these changes that need to take place, systemic changes in the way we do things, how we're going to pay for all of that. And so this chapter I'm reading at the moment is talking about I think it's something like $1.6 trillion per year are required globally in order to kind of try it and to work towards keeping our the temperature differential that we're looking at in climate change, to keeping it down. So where on earth does all that money come from? So this book is all about that. And it's this chapter is all about that. It's great. Anyway, I'm on my new Kindle here, my Kindle Voyage, and of course I can't quite remember where you get to your... I'd bookmarked where I was, you see, and I can't remember. Maybe if I just go back. Oh, well, there, it'll just take me back anyway. But yeah, fascinating. Really worth a read if you're thinking about these environmental issues, but trying to do so not just in a you know, scaring yourself kind of way, but in a right, how do we actually deal with this, and what are the practical steps that we as in individuals, but as in the whole of the world, how we might work through these things, and how we might pay for them, because it would be expensive, but it is an expense that we're going to have to pay at some point, and we will pay less if we do it now and start doing things differently than if we wait another decade. It seems we've already waited a long time. So that's the plan, and then tomorrow I have rush to get back, so we'll see. But I'll try and do the same thing though, driving in just with the traffic kind of way of driving. Yeah, which so far has been working fine. Plenty of chargers around to charge up. There is a charger in Cambuslang, a slow charger. So tomorrow, while we're at a family thing in the morning at the Cambuslang Parish Church, may plug in there, and to hopefully to top it up to 99 or 100% ready for leaving. But just in case that is not working properly, I wanted to give the car a good amount of juice in it at this rapid charger. All right, signing off for tonight. Put in 10.3 kilowatt hours. That's all right. Yeah. So
I saw 91.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Right, so we need the card. You want to open the boot, Andrew?
Okay.
Well, please remove plug and close the door. That's it. All right. The last time I was at this charging point in Cambuslang, there was no charger there. I think it's in one of the earlier videos. The case was there, but there were none of the electronics. So thankfully the electronics are actually in. So we've got to charge up to, what was it, Andrew? 91%?
Yeah.
So we've got plenty of miles here to go fast back up to Stirling to get a rapid charge later on. But first we're off to get food. Good idea?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's go.
I didn't know that. I thought you were like ages away from the water.
No, we're really close. We've made an itinerary for our journey back to make life a bit easier on the sat-nav. So here's where we're starting down here in Glasgow, and then heading up to Stirling. We'll get a quick rapid charge there, and then all the way to Forfar, another rapid charge, and then back. So we do it in two stops, and I think we should be able to get away with just sort of 20-25 minutes at each one, maybe, to get the rest of the way. That's the plan. We'll see how that works. I know, November the 30th, and it is gorgeous sun.
Is it November have?
Lovely.
November have 30 days.
November has 30 days, so 1st of December tomorrow.
Oh.
Amazing. All right, well, we have stopped at Stirling Services, where I stopped before on the way down. So we left at 1:30 from Cambuslang. It is 2 o'clock now, and you hear that, the fans?
Yeah.
Starting to cool it down. So 35 minutes So I'm going to hop to Forfar from here. Not going to stop at Perth. Same thing I did on the way down, so we can just make it back in 2 stops. And so far so good, beautiful day. So no problems, roads are nice and clear. So just set the cruise control at 70 miles an hour all the way up to here. And I think we were about 89% or something, 90% when we left.
We were
I guess
91%.
91% when we unplugged from the
Yeah.
charger, wasn't it? So, and then we drove a little bit around Cambuslang before we headed off. So that must have been about right. So how long should we let it get up to?
We could get it up to 4%.
You're at 100%. That takes
Yeah.
a long time. Maybe high 90s.
Okay.
Should we go for high 90s? So we can get a wee stop, have a look in the shops if you like. All right. So that's what we're gonna do.
This team that I'm playing is winning 1-0.
Are they winning 1-0?
Yeah, but they've
Are you
only
playing
had
FIFA?
they've only had 1 chance of scoring and they did score. But I have had like 5 chances of scoring, but I didn't score.
Nightmare!
It was just like that much away, like over the top bar.
Oh, poor, what a pain. If the battery goes beyond lower than a certain level, Renault switch it out. So it should be fine.
Isn't when you charge it, like when you charge it every time, a little bit of the charge it goes away and you can't charge a little bit.
Yeah, you can only charge when a battery so many times,
Yeah.
and it kind of goes. You get less and less charge. However, it's so big and there's so many parts of the battery that it actually will last a long time. And in fact, the batteries are bigger than what you kind of use, so that it's got kind of backup in it, space. Okay, it's 2:24, so we've been here about nearly about 25 minutes, and we're up to 96%. So I think we're going to unplug, right?
Yeah.
And then we're just going to go from here up to Forfar, which is, I have no idea how many miles it is to Forfar. Where's our wee little Dewberry thingy? Well, there's 122 miles total, and I think it's about 70 miles, something like that. But we'll go, I think we'll go a different route, which will go cross country, which will be a bit shorter, and then we will go and it'll be a bit slower because we're going across country roads. It will be fine though. Okie dokies, we are back to Forfar, Angus' house, and we have only 4 miles left on the counter, but we did drive we were going quite fast across the country roads. So we left at, I think it was about 2:30, wasn't it? It must have been about 2:30, so it's been about an hour and a half getting to here. And there's 52 miles to go, so we need to charge up enough for 52 miles at 70 miles an hour. So we will unplug. Let's go plug it in.
Well, keep filming.
If you want. My cameraman. we've plugged in, and we were at, it was 7%, wasn't it? When it's started, so it's just started charging at this charger, which is thankfully charging at proper rapid rates. All right, we'll let it charge up. 3:54 it is. What, give it 20 minutes or so?
Okay.
Something like that. It says 50 minutes on here, but well, maybe, is it maybe half an hour would get it up to
Like 70 or something.
or 18, 90 maybe even. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we got plenty of time though, so we're okay for time. We're doing fine for getting up for 5:30. Cool. And we've been nibbling. What have we been nibbling?
Chocolate.
Chocolates. From where? IKEA. These are pretty good. Except we have no idea what they are. Oh, look, no, it shows you on here. You see. No, I hadn't really looked at this. There's lemon, mint.
I want that one.
Fudge. What is that? One of those got, no, that's got nuts in it. Oh, now we're finding out what they are. There we go. I hadn't realised it had pictures on.
The green one.
They are pretty good though, and cheap at IKEA. We used the phone to turn on the, because it was kind of getting a little steamed up in here, to turn on the air conditioning, which was fine. Now, on one of the other chargers, one of the Siemens charger, a couple of times I've done that. If it's been really cold, I've just put the heating on, using the kind of preconditioning thing, and it actually has cut out the charger. It's like there's maybe a, because it does use the electricity coming from the charger to control the heater, the air pump heater, and anyway, this kicked in fine, did its 5 minutes or whatever it is, warming the car up, and then it turned off, didn't it? And we heard it kind of winding down, or you could hear a few sort of noises from under the bonnet, because it's very quiet here, so you can hear everything. And then maybe, what was it, like 15 seconds later, the charge just stopped. So it stopped charging the car, which is weird. So just unplugged, plugged it back in, and it is now back on, and it is charging again. No problems. But that's slightly odd. We're at 76%. We have been here. When did we get here? Was it about 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Wasn't it about 4 o'clock? So we've been here about 20 minutes, and it's up to 77%. I think we're going to leave it to 80. What do we think? 85 or something like that.
We could get up to 90.
Or maybe up to 90. Leave it to 90. So maybe give it, yeah, half past or 90%, whichever one comes sooner. How about that?
Okay.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Good. Andrew has just pointed out that we were at 90%. We are now at 91 and 427. So I did say once we hit 90, we would unplug. So we are going to unplug and head home, and it is getting dark outside. Back to Aberdeen, and then a fun night watching Maleficent with lots of popcorn, juice, and a whole bunch of young folks. Should be fun. Unplug.
See? Oh,
That's it.
there.
Ending charge. It says.
Why took it off?
Yeah, I'll press the button here, and then you can pop it in. There you go. Yeah, just slide it in the middle one. Door. Charging door. Charging door.
What?
Charging door.
What's charging door?
The front of the car.
Oh yeah, the door.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, we head back the rest of our way. How long we got to go?
52 miles.
52 miles, and 5:30 we're due to be there, which is perfect when we were hoping to be back by. It's worked out okay, hasn't it? Well, we've had our movie night, haven't we? Which was good.
Yeah.
We got up to, can you remember what time we got? It was about 5:20, wasn't it? Because we were back a bit earlier. So it took us, and we left at 1:30, so it took us just under 4 hours to get back up the road. So that is about, yeah, I think it normally take about 3 hours in the other car. And we charged about half an hour at each place, wasn't it? So that's about right, because we were driving at just normal motorway speeds. So when we got back up, there was about 7 miles left on the range. So I'm plugging in at our local charger, ready for the morning when I've got to drive all the way back down to Perth again. Oh joy. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. We're tired, aren't we? A little bushed, exactly. Okay. Oh, in fact, I was going to set on here, if I remember how to do this, because it's been a wee while since I've done it. Right, comfort timer. Because I'm plugging it in overnight to charge, I'm going to set here 7:45. That's about when I'm going to be leaving tomorrow morning. So I'm turning it on so that it'll warm the car up. Prepares your vehicle to be comfortable by 07:45. Okay, awesome. Done. So that is on and ready to go. Oh, and I'll turn off and we'll see how pitiful my score is at the moment. Oh, well, it could be worse. 70 out of 100. It was down to 50 something. Yeah, 54 or something, I think it was. Anyway, I've used quite a lot of energy up there. Yeah, not very good on my average. Oh, well, we'll see what happens tomorrow when I've got another long run to add 430 miles over this kind of long weekend. Yoy. All right. Ta-ra. I'm leaving first thing in the morning, and this message came up this morning. First time I've seen that, with schedule a service within 30 days. So coming up to a year since I've had the wee Zoe. Car charged overnight, so I'm at 100%, and the comfort timer for the scheduled comfort timer worked a treat. So when I got to the car this morning, it was lovely and warm, which is, it really is a nice feature when it starts to get cold, I have to say. Brilliant. And back down the road. I was up yesterday down to Perth, and I'm meeting somebody at the Forfa rapid charger. So because I'm going to the rapid charger, there's somebody cycling down the wrong lane there, nearly taking out some people with their dogs trying to cross the road. Interesting. Yeah, I can drive a bit faster than I normally would. So this trip down to Perth is easily doable in one charge. But as this whole kind of 5 days or so has been about not doing the eco thing in particular, just driving at speed, no compromises on speed. I'm just gonna put the car at 70 on the cruise and head on down and charge up for a bit at the rapid charger. That's the plan. And the charger was all working fine yesterday, so that shouldn't be a problem. Fatal last words, of course. I'm in eco mode at the moment because I'm just cruising around the city. Once I get on the motorway, of course, I'll take that off. Oh, it's no fun the winter, leaving the house and it's dark and all that. Oh, never mind. Mode. And as usual, loads of traffic coming into the city on the other side. So going against the traffic is always a good idea. Killer hill that immediately come out of Aberdeen. You climb this hill, but hey, I'll just blast up it. I'm usually, if I'm worried at all about range or I'm just being careful about range, I'm a little more circumspect going up the hill. Gather speed a little bit more gently. I'm back in Aberdeen. So now I'm trying to think what time it was. About 3:15, I think, left Perth. And yeah, so I pretty much drove at the kind of speed limits that are everywhere. Well, you know, as traffic allowed, if you know what I mean. So charged up in Perth at one of the kind of normal chargers during my all day long meeting, and then again on the way back got 15 minutes at Forfar just to top up, and then have driven on the motorway all the way back at with the pretty much, well, in fact, yeah, with the cruise control set at 70 all the way, apart from one brief section at 50 where there's a 50 limit. So, and down at 8 miles. So it is faster, I think doing it that way. Oh, I'm not sure. It's a hard one actually. Rather than just driving a bit slower and then not charging, doing it all in one charge. I think it is a bit faster this particular journey. and of course you're driving for less time, which is maybe a little bit nicer, depending on how you feel. Anyway, I'm just about back. I've got straight back home. I need to grab a few things and then straight out again for a whole thing that's going on tonight. No rest. And I will plug the car in later tonight, and then that will be kind of the end of my adventures over these last few days. So I'll give a final kind of summary then. Right. Whew. A long day. Let me turn off the aircon. Get some light on the subject. Oh, I'm tired. I've just been playing the part of Balthazar, one of the Magi. The wise men, in other words, in a special thing we've been doing at the church for the beginning of Advent. Anyway, that is me back home, kind of the end of this. I mean, of course I'm driving every day, but the end of this sort of wee little journey being on and trying something different for a long journey, a different style of driving. So previously, with a few occasions, I've generally been trying to drive very carefully and being gentle with range and trying to kind of spread stops, and so kind of jumping past rapid chargers and kind of going like maybe every other or every third rapid charger and getting a charge there and then going on, which, if you're not in a rush, is quite a pleasant way to travel. But this time, as I've said, I was wanting to do something different and try driving just at ordinary motorway speeds, so cruising at 70 miles an hour, or 50, 60 on kind of country roads, so just with the national speed limit and all of that. Which is kind of tallied in my averages. So if I come to the computer over here and start looking at some of the details, now I've got to try and remember where you get all, because there's lots of different things here, and it's just looking in the right place to get the right information. So I have done 591 miles, an average speed of 38 miles per hour, which is kind of low when you consider most of it has been on motorways, but I did have quite a lot of pootering around the city and stuff like that. Average consumption of 3.2 is not brilliant, so that really shows you're driving on the faster driving uses a lot more energy. And total consumption 180 kilowatt hours for 591 miles. Now let's have a look and see. I think this is just the, yeah, that's only over the last bit of the journey, which has been just about all downhill, so nothing much happening there. That was just coming home. And in here we've got the trip report, which shows you my energy gain back 10 kilowatt hours. So now if I'm driving in a way that I can get an awful lot more energy back than that, and you can see my score. That's actually, I thought it would be worse than that, I must admit. However, not great, as you can see by the fact that my leaf is pretty pathetic and small. Speed, no surprises, that is where it's all gone wrong. Anticipation, not too bad. The anticipation, I think, is really measuring, it's really basically measuring how much you're braking. So the less you're braking, then obviously the more you are anticipating what's coming ahead, and you're just slowing, the car is slowing naturally and then picking up, you know. So I think that's kind of really what that's measuring there. So that's that. Now, my main reason for trying it was just to see kind of timing wise what difference it would make doing yeah, that's just the kind of same info. Yeah, that's the same information, already been there. That's fine. So really it was I was intrigued to see if you can do, you know, how much extra time it would take. So one of my earlier videos, which is probably from maybe 10 months ago, I think it may have been my first trip down to Glasgow, and on the way back, I think it took me about 7 hours to get back, something like that. So when we came back yesterday from Glasgow, it took 3 hours 50 minutes, I think it was, with 2 rapid charges along the way, each of about half an hour. So about 2 hours 50 then of traveling time, and an hour or so of charging time. Now that's not bad, because it would take, you know, it would take you about 2 hours 50, depending on traffic. You know, you can do it faster if you're not necessarily obeying the speed limit so much, but that's kind of roughly what it would take you. Now on the way down, I was driving the same kind of way, and it took me a little bit longer, but I had to wait for a charge because there was another car there. Now funnily enough, on the way back, on the coming back on a Sunday evening, afternoon, evening, we didn't see any other EVs at the charge points, but going down on a Thursday afternoon, lots of other EVs as folks were traveling around during the week. That was interesting. But yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised, and but I must admit, I have a bit of a sense of guilt driving the way I've been driving over the last week, because I've got so used to driving in an eco mindset that, you know, of lots of coasting, and so setting the cruise control, and when you're going up hills, of course it keeps 70 completely. It just, you know, you see the graph thing using way more energy to get you up the hills, whereas if I was in an eco kind of mindset, I would let the car, you know, slow as it goes up, and then gather speed again as you come back down a hill. Not slowing dangerously slow, but, you know, just gently tailing off the speed so you're not using so much energy. Now, I think I've noted when it's in eco mode, the car, and you're on the motorway, sort of cruising at 60, which is its kind of maximum speed in eco mode, which is okay on most dual carriageways. You can easy enough just cruise along at 60. You're kind of going a little bit faster than the trucks are going. It does gently allow the car to slow a little bit on hills. It doesn't absolutely keep it to 60, and that's all part of the reduced power availability. So it just does let it just gently slow a bit and then gather speed again. Yeah, so that's how that works. But overall, so the last few days, 591 miles, completely effortless in the car. The car is now telling me that it is due a service, which is great, and I'm going to wait because I have heard word from Renault that they are going to change the dashboard cover to a black or dark cover to help reduce the reflection, and that I should hear about that it should be ready for that sometime in December, which it is today, 1st of December. So that will be great. I'm looking forward to that, because that will make it a bit safer in certain light conditions when the light is coming and you get a lot of reflection from this light covered dashboard. So when it goes in for that, it'll get its service, and I might also get the DAB unit fitted for the R-Link, so it picks up the digital radio at the same time. So that'll be a few different jobs when it goes in December. So that'll be good to get those fitted. The most I'm looking forward to getting this changed, I have to say. I've seen pictures of some of the newer cars that have got this already fitted, and it does seem to make a difference. Brilliant. Anyway, that's enough of my rabbiting for this video. Thanks for continuing on my EV journey, which I am continuing to enjoy with the wee Zoe, and keep on motoring. Time to plug in. Only 6 miles left. Warning light on. All right. Cheerio, bye.